Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Saturday, January 1st, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 500 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Los Angeles Clippers vs Brooklyn Nets. The Clippers are 27th in the NBA in scoring with an average of 105.0 points per game. La shoots 44.8% overall and 35.9% from behind the three-point line. With Paul George sidelined with an injury, the leading active scorer for La is Reggie Jackson with an average of 17.2 points per game. The leader in assists for La is Paul George, but in his absence Reggie Jackson is the dish master with an average of 4.2 assists per game. The Clippers are averaging 23.0 assists and 14.1 turnovers per game for an assist-to-turnover ratio of 1.6. The Nets will come into this game with a bit of fire after dropping a loss at home to the Philadelphia 76ers on Thursday. Not only did they lose the game, but they also got bumped out of the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference by the Chicago Bulls. The Nets will be angry. And you won't like them when they're angry. It's amazing the Clippers have found a way to remain competitive with so many players out, but they're about to run into a buzzsaw on Saturday. It's the same buzzsaw that handed them a 124-108 loss at the Staples Center on Wednesday, and that one didn't even have Kevin Durant on the floor. The Clippers were already struggling offensively this season, but now, they're down their top 2 scoring options with both Paul George and Reggie Jackson on the shelf. A limited offense means the Clippers need the perfect defensive game plan to lock the Nets down. Our first betting advice is to pick Brooklyn Nets to cover the spread. Brooklyn is still a top 10 scoring offense thanks to the Herculean efforts of Kevin Durant and James Harden. Patty Mills and LaMarcus Aldridge have both been good, but it may not be enough for a team that's seriously lacking in offensive depth. Unless the Big Two plans on playing for 48-minute games per game, it's going to continue to be a problem for them this season. The Clippers are hanging by a thread with the old guard still intact with guys like Marcus Morris Sr. and Eric Bledsoe leading the way. But that isn't nearly enough firepower to keep pace with this Nets team. Durant is one of the greatest pure scorers the game has ever seen, and Harden can get buckets in his sleep. The Nets have also stepped up their defensive effort this season. At first glance, this game seems like a perfect bounce-back opportunity. But there have been a lot of teams that have come up short for underestimating the Clippers. There are few teams as resilient as this Clippers team. It doesn't matter who goes down with an injury. The team always rallies and finds a way to get the job done. They were playing without Kawhi Leonard, Paul George and Reggie Jackson, the would-be top 3 scorers on the roster, and they still knocked off the Boston Celtics on Wednesday. Now, they'll try to take it a step further by challenging a Nets team with Kevin Durant and James Harden in the lineup. Our second betting advice is to pick under the total. Quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 500 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Denver Nuggets vs Houston Rockets. The Nuggets come into this game having won 2 straight. They beat the Clippers in La 103-100 last Sunday, and then they had their best win of the year, beating the LeaGues top team, Golden State, 89-86 at Golden State. They were supposed to get a rematch with Golden State at home on Thursday, but the game was postponed due to COVID. In their 89-86 win over the Warriors, Jokic had another great game, scoring 22 points and grabbing 18 rebounds. He also had 5 assists and 4 steals. Will Barton stepped up with 21 points. Barton has been a reliable second scorer, averaging 15.3 points per game. Jokic is averaging MVP-like numbers with 25.8 points, 14.8 rebounds, and 7.1 assists per game. The Rockets have covered the spread in each of the last 2 meetings between these teams, including losing by just 1 the last time these teams met, a game where Denver was favored by 11.5 points. I fully expect the Nuggets to come away with a victory, but if the spread is more than 10 points, you may want to look at Houston. Our first betting advice is to pick the Denver Nuggets. Houston is 19th in points per game at 107.0 and 29th in points allowed per game at 114.8. They are 17th in field goal percentage, 45.2%, and 19th in three-point shooting, 34.4%. This is the worst free throw shooting team in the league at 70.7%, disappointing considering they are 6th in average free throws per game at 17.2 per contest. Houston will be without Kenyon Martin, DeJon Jarreau, and Jason Tate. Houston is led by Christian Wood at 17.3 points and 10.7 rebounds per game. He is shooting 47.0% field, but is just a 61.0% free throw shooter. Green is second at 14.8 points per game. Denver is 23rd in points per game at 105.8 and is allowing 106.0 points per contest, 10th overall. The team is 11th in field goal percentage, 46.0%, and 18th in three-point shooting, 34.5%. They are 20th in free throw percentage at 76.2%. The Nuggets have several players out, including Aaron Gordon, Monty Morris, Austin Rivers, and Zeke Nnaji. Denver is led by Jokic, who is having an MVP-type season, averaging 25.8 points, 14.0 rebounds, and 7.1 assists per game. Barton has been an outstanding complement to Jokic, averaging 15.3 points per contest. Our second betting advice is to pick under the total. Golden State Warriors vs Utah Jazz. The Warriors have been hot right through this season, and credit to Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry for catalyzing that change. The Warriors are now 27-7 for the season after 89-86 defeat to the Denver Nuggets in their previous game. The Jazz, like all other teams in the NBA, have been hit by the health and safety protocols, but they have found their depth to move to 25-9 for the season, including 5 wins in their last 5. The Jazz beat the Trailblazers 120-105 in their previous game. Rudy Gobert had yet another double-double of 22 points and 14 rebounds, while Hassan Whiteside had 15 points and 11 boards from the bench. Any advantage that Golden State had is taken away by Utah. They are even better in rebounding and are a better shooting team as well. Plus, they play better defense. That removes away the key elements of what has made the Warriors the best team in the NBA and gives Utah a huge advantage heading into this contest. The Jazz are on a roll and are playing at home. Utah is 13-6 at home, which is not as good as we have traditionally seen them in the past. They will be up for this contest. Our first betting advice is to pick the Utah Jazz at -4. Utah is first in points per game at 115.9 and 7th in points allowed per contest at 105.6. The Jazz are the number 1 shooting team at 47.8% and are shooting well from three-point range at 36.4%, 6th overall. Like Golden State, Utah is not as good from the line, 18th overall at 76.4%. They are first in defensive rebounds, 37.0, and first in total rebounds, 47.6. The Jazz will be without Mike Conley, Eric Paschall, and Joe Ingles. Utah is led by Mitchell at 25.4 points and 5.0 assists per game. Gobert has been a monster, averaging 15.6 points and 14.9 rebounds per game. The loss of Conley is obviously a huge one, but there is plenty of depth there. Golden State is 7th in points per game at 110.9 and first in points allowed per contest at 100.9. The team is 4th in field goal percentage, 47.1%, and 5th in three-point shooting, 36.6%. However, they have struggled from the free throw line, 26th overall at 74.8%. Despite playing a smaller-sized lineup, the Warriors are getting the job done on the glass, 3rd in spring offensive rebounds, 36.4, and 5th in total rebounds, 46.3. Golden State will be without James Wiseman. The Warriors are led by Curry at 27.7 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 5.9 rebounds per contest. Wiggins is having an outstanding season, averaging 18.8 points per night. Draymond Green is the leading rebounder, 7.9, but is out. Our second betting advice is to pick over the total.